want to watch them. I ain't watch it. This one of them videos. So this bitch say flight reacts to compare comparison of the most painful punishments. You feel me? I'm
What
pretty
do you
sure
do?
this is like a prison joint too.
Flight crew, FTC. Flight team stand up. I go by flight, but you can call me FTC. We got you so fresh, so clean, educationalish. Now, the last time we reacted to Echoes, I believe we did the comparisons of the most painful unalive moments by certain people. You guys was messing with it. This time, man, we have comparisons of the most painful punishments, bro. Believe it or not, bro, all the way back in the days, like 1320 BC, 320 BC, right? I think. Bro, they used to just do way different type of punishments. Now, usually nowadays, if you guys are not sleeping under a rock, if you do a crazy crime, most of the time you just get like a life sentence, and then at worst to worst, you can get the death penalty. But back then, for criminals, especially like very, very weird different cases, they would do public, you know what I'm saying, like crazy punishments,
I
bro.
I seen a punishment one time where like they put a nigga in a bull in like a metal in like a metal bull, a human sized bull, right? And then they set that bitch on fire. They start spinning that bitch. They start cooking your ass. Like that was a real punishment in the back of that. And I think they cooked you until you die. So just imagine being in hell but on earth, folks. They was fucking y'all up, and some niggas need that. Some niggas need
And they
that. Like some YNs need that to this day.
obviously just can't do that anymore. So let's see what was the most painful ones.
You said something
Straight
right
out.
about the church in the Middle Ages, so the Inquisition is after you now. They've used a leather strap to secure a device that looks like a two-way fork with two sharp points on your neck. One of its sides is pushing against your sternum, and the other against your chin. At first, you tried to keep your head up to lessen the pain, but you couldn't stay like this for long. The so-called heretic's fork wasn't deadly, but made the victim suffer from the tiniest move. However, on the scale of pain based on scientific research, this kind of suffering gets only 27 points out of 140.
Man,
What?
hell,
What's worse
nigga, it's bro. Look, folks, that's some shit, bro. Bring that back for some niggas burning like that. I'm not gonna lie, it shouldn't be like a death penalty thing, but it should be like if you kill somebody, you gotta feel what that feel like. I ain't gonna lie, if you kill somebody.
You'll find out about the worst kind of torture in the history of humankind.
I think this it, nigga. Literally, y'all just seen what I was talking about. Y'all finna see it in the
your
video.
discretion is advised.
Y'all finna see it
You
in the
have at
video.
least a few times in your life been subjected to one of the less obvious kinds of torture. It's just that the executioner wasn't persistent enough when tickling you. In ancient China, this was the primary method of punishing delinquents from noble families, since tickles didn't leave any traces of torture on the body. And the victim was able to recover quite fast if the procedure didn't go too far, of course. In European countries, goats were employed as a torture device. The culprit was tied up, and salty water was poured on their feet to make the animal lick them. What's so bad about that, you might ask? It's just that there's an incredible number of nerve endings in the feet, and the goat's rough tongue would irritate them quite a lot. So, after a few hours, the tickling starts inducing not just
Bro, I'm sorry. Like, why does that just sound freaky as hell, bro? You're using another
Bro, nah. Let
animal's
me
tongue
let
to
me let
lick
Flight
your
talk
feet
first.
for torture? Like, yo, that's kind of crazy, bro.
but all
Nigga, that is actually disgusting, gang. Like, don't bring this back. That's not even torture at this point, gang. Like, that's actually
also
disgusting.
Bro,
painful
what-
muscle contractions. You lose virtually all control over your body, which causes extreme
Cause niggas that's not ticklish, like niggas that's not ticklish, that ain't gonna affect them, gang. You need to like, I don't know. I'm gonna let y'all know what they should bring back and what they shouldn't in this bit.
stress, anxiety, and exhaustion. Moreover, the nerve endings responsible for reacting to tickles also signalize pain.
That's crazy.
It's just that if we're being tickled for fun, and for a short time, our reaction to stress doesn't go beyond laughter and light sensations in the body. However, if done for hours, this causes the nervous system such overload that the lightest touch causes unbearable physical pain. Now imagine that it's not your feet being tickled, it's your private parts.
Oh,
In India, Interrogation of criminals was accompanied by placing a small bug on the culprit's genitals and covering the insect with a walnut shell so that it didn't escape. The constant irritation of super-sensitive areas caused by the bug's movements made the torture unbearable very quickly.
Bro,
And the executioners
what?
got any confession they wanted.
Bro, like, what's up with these weird ass fucking, like, this not what I wanted to watch, gang. Bro, y'all, bro.
Eventually, tickle torture would result in death by asphyxiation if the victim developed a throat spasm caused by uncontrollable laughter.
Bro, what? Bro, I was just today now finding out. Bro, you can literally be unalive by getting tickled too much, bro. What? Bro, that's kind of crazy.
I think
Their
I've been
possible
that. I
outcomes
ain't
were
gonna lie. I think
cardiac
I've been
arrest
that.
or a brain aneurysm provoked by serious stress. Yet on the pain scale, tickle torture got only 32 points since the suffering it brought was mostly psychological. This is very similar to the next kind of torture, the Chinese water torture. At first, the person was immobilized, and then cold water would slowly drip onto their face or head. Gradually, the constant skin irritation caused by the drops and splashes would make the nervous system hypersensitive. The inability to move and the wait for the next drop would literally start driving the person insane. Maybe you've even seen this torture in movies. Here's the paradox though. There's no proof that it was ever used in China. This kind of torture was first described by an Italian lawyer on the cusp of the 16th century. In the mid-18th century, German and French doctors attempted to use this method to cure mental disorders. Moreover, the very term Chinese water torture came into active use owing to a trick by the legendary Harry Houdini. So, does the water drop torture actually work? Since it can look harmless at first glance, a few bloggers have dared to try it out themselves. The water drop torture was also tested by the Mythbusters. All participants knew they were actually perfectly safe and could be freed at any moment. Yet everyone went through a hellish experience. At first, the experimenters suffered from cold, thirst, psychological tension, and physical discomfort. Then their entire bodies started aching, and breathing problems arose. It all ended in a panic and desperate pleas to be released.
That is the worst.
In addition,
That's
after this
awkward.
episode, the Mythbusters received...
I say that's like more of awkward, if anything. Like, bro, just
Yeah,
a
where am
drop
I
of water, bro.
fucking
Like,
feeling, bro? Like, watch
I mean,
out.
obviously, I feel like it'll be anybody's pet peeve. Like, if I just see anything like a faucet dripping and stuff like that, I want that fixed ASAP. So just imagine you just sitting there watching a drop of water hit your
found
forehead.
out that the Chinese water torture may cause mental issues that persist for 20 hours. So, on the pain scale, the water drop torture received 40 points, and a huge question as to whether it was actually used in practice. At least because it was replaced by much crueler kinds of water torture. One of them was the Swedish drink. This name was invented by the Germans. During the 30 Years' War, they became victims of the Swedish army servicemen, mercenaries, or marauders. This method of torture went as follows. Through a funnel, the perpetrators would pour buckets of the most disgusting liquids imaginable into the victim's throat. They used everything from urine and filth to manure and feces.
Oh, I'm killing the bitch. What? Nigga, this ain't no fucking torture, nigga. Stop fucking playing. If a nigga throwing piss and whatever the fuck else he talking about, boy, I'ma kill you. I don't get no fuck. You gonna have to shoot a nigga to death, fo, before a nigga ever do this, fo. What? That's
This
not
was the
torture, bro. That's straight weird shit, gang. Like,
Swedes' way of torturing the civilians to force them to give up their money or food. No,
Nigga, that's not even a punishment. That's robbery, bruh. Man, what type of sick, cold-ass robber doing that, man?
not only did
I thought these were for punishments, like they commit some crime, especially a
bro, that's what I
weirdo-ass type
thought. That's what I thought this video was about.
of
Oh
crime,
God.
bruh. Nigga wanted some money and food, bro. You doing that?
victims feel disgust and humiliation from being subjected to the Swedish drink. They also contracted...
Bro, I'm sorry, yo. In this time period when they was doing stuff like this back in the day, bro, like, there would have been no way possible, bro, I would have made it to like 20 years old, bro. Because I 100% would have crashed. I'm not doing any of this. Y'all don't have to catch me, bro.
God,
I'm fighting
no,
everybody in that crowd and whooping everybody in that crowd.
Man, fuck that, man. I'm gonna have to catch me a couple hats a couple bodies in GTA. I'm gonna have to. Cause what, gang? You pouring piss in niggas, you hold niggas down and pouring piss in niggas' mouth, gang. That shit's not funny. It's not cool. It's not no punishment, gang. What you talk about? That shit's straight disgusting. Like all the so far in this video game, I don't find shit a punishment yet, folks. I ain't even see a punishment yet.
Bro, yo, no BS. Who taking you taking flight, bro?
Furthermore,
one
their
versus
stomachs
103
stretched, causing
people.
horrific pain.
Fuck that.
The perpetrators would often use wooden planks to put pressure on the victim's bloated belly, or hit it with sticks to deepen the suffering. So, on the pain scale, the Swedish drink got 46 points out of the possible 140. Very often, one kind of torture ranged from public humiliation, accompanied by intense discomfort, to a death punishment with unbearable suffering. One of such hellish inventions was the cane. It's a large board consisting of two halves with a hole between them, used to keep the device on a person's neck. The cane wasn't secured in any way, so the culprit had to support the board with their hands and balance it while walking. To intensify the punishment, the person in a...
Bro, look at the dude on the bottom right. That just looks crazy, bro. Yo, like, are we gonna say that, like, bro, like anything before like 1900, like 1800s, 1700s, like, bro? I mean, to be honest, anybody like that was living like before like 19. I said, when did TV get like color? Whenever TV got color and there was some type of internet, bro. If you was living before then, bro, I actually feel bad, bro, because you missing out on everything that's going on right now, and then this is what they had to deal with. Like, man.
Cane could also be chained, stopping them from ever sitting down. Moreover, the cane's parameters would change according to the severity of the punishment. It could weigh anywhere from 9 to 15 kilograms and have a square, rectangular, or disproportionate, irregular shape. Sometimes they were even double or triple. Often a cane would be so large that the victim would be unable to touch their face to eat or drink. If they weren't helped by those who cared, the victim would die a slow death of hunger and thirst. Yet the cane was also used as an execution device. The convict was placed inside a tall cage made specifically for this purpose. A cane would be secured above. Then, a prop would be taken from under the victim's feet, and they would slowly...
Bro, you know what I just thought about? The reason why I thought about it is
I'm not gonna lie, they could bring this one back. This one not that, like, it's not weird. You feel me? It's not as weird as the other shit, like niggas pouring piss in your mouth and some other weird shit. Like, y'all could bring this back, bro. This is, you feel me?
something with like for like criminals and comics or something like that. Bro, can you imagine the amount of people like back then? Like, I'm talking maybe like 1500s and 1700s when they finally like made like all the laws of just everything that exists, such as like, okay, like stealing, shoplifting, or, you know what I'm saying, like robbery, like etc. and stuff like that. Bro, do you ever think that, like, bro, they literally let, especially like who they call good people around like wherever part of the country they lived in, they probably let a good 500 to thousands of people get away with those same crimes. And then they just woke up one morning and they were just like, you know what? This doesn't sit right with us. Don't y'all guys think that this is like bad, or this isn't something that people should normally, or normal functioning people should be doing? Let's think about making a law where we can just make it illegal, so if they commit it again, or if they commit it at all, we'll, you know what I'm saying, punish them. You know what I'm saying? Somebody had to wake up and...
Hey, in my opinion, if a nigga get death row or like life, like 50, the more life, and you like, I'd say like 40 or like 30, even 30 folks, then just kill them. You in GTA. But I mean, like, you feel me? Like get on one of these punishments. Not the crazy ones you was just running into, but probably this one. Probably the bull that I was talking about. Set that bitch on fire. Start spinning that bitch around. Let them cook. You feel me? I'm not gonna lie though. That shit might stink though. Like, just cooking a nigga for, like, putting him in like a human sized animal and cooking him. Bro, do they season? Bro, what am I talking about, bro?
Think
I'm
about
just
that.
saying,
Like,
bro, that
they
shit might
had to
stink,
be
bro.
mature after seeing everything go on and all the chaos go on across the country and across the world, and just be like, okay, like, nah, we need to make this illegal. This shit isn't sitting right. Nobody should just be able to just run up on somebody and just knock them upside the head and just take all their belongings. That should be illegal. Like, that's actually kind of crazy, bro. Humans had to come together and think about something illegal because this wasn't just like human born made. They didn't just like, nobody on Earth was just born and just make these, like, you know. So
With the
I
bullet
always think
on their
about
neck.
that, bro. It's crazy.
That's how people were executed in China as recently as 1900, suffering excruciating pain. On the pain scale, cane torture sits at 62 points.
That one's crazy.
However, even this horror is far from being the worst thing people ever came up with. Europeans during the Middle Ages were especially creative in their acts of cruelty. It was then that they invented and actively used a contraption called the Judas cradle. It's a spiky wooden or metal pyramid secured on a support with a special clamp over it. First, the victim's arms and legs were tied, and then their trunk was secured with a metal ring attached to the ceiling or the wall with ropes.
What
After
the
this,
fuck?
the person was slowly seated on the pyramid's sharp point. I won't go into the horrific anatomical details.
Oh, I know where this is going, bro.
Since it's clear anyway that the process caused unbearable pain.
Oh!
It could go on for days.
Days!
Oh my goodness. They basically. Ooh, nah. I ain't even gonna say what I was gonna say.
Confession or other information, but
The
the victim
fuck are
remained
y'all
silent.
talking about?
They tied weights
Like-
to their arms and legs, causing the pyramid edges to gnaw at the poor person's body even more. As if that wasn't enough, the Judas cradle was never cleaned, so it became.
Bro, and I feel like if y'all bring more and more like more punishments out like this and shit, it'll be less crimes going on. Tell like y'all should put it on every news channel. Like if somebody is a murderer or like a mass murder, that mean 2 or more. Nigga, they get one of these punishments, folks. Period, point blank, before they gotta die.
No, ew, fuck that shit. Oh my gosh, nah, that had it right there. That had it right there. That's disgusting. Niggas got motherfucking butt juice, fucking poop juice, all types of shit. And don't even let me get started. If a nigga, imagine a nigga had an STD, bro. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, this nigga fly hilarious, gang.
No, bro.
Wait, they had STDs back then? Hold on. I'm confused. Like, when was STD created? They had STDs back then? Bro, I don't even got time for that. I just wanted a yes or no answer. Like, I just really wanted them to just put that shit right there.
Yo, this gotta be the most foulest, sickening.
But that's
educational
insane,
video right
bro. I ain't know they had STDs back then like that. I'm not gonna lie. Like, what?
here, bro. Like when you come to realization on that entire situation, that is disgusting. That is disgusting, bro.
Bro, who was
That
the...
is disgusting.
Hey, do y'all ever think about like who was the first nigga to get STDs or the first bitch to get STDs? I feel like they should have locked her away in a cage or locked them away in a cage. So, cause that shit is spread, gang. It spread it spread horribly, like horribly. Like y'all don't understand, gang. That should be a crime. Y'all should lock the person who created that shit up.
Disgusting.
But that shit probably years or decades ago.
Oh my gosh. Like I feel like, bro, whenever they was doing punishments like this, bro, 90% of the diseases that you hear about and see about now, like they had to have come from that clearly. The fact they wasn't cleaning that's nasty, bro. Man.
Breeding ground for deadly bacteria. So, even if the victim...
Even the people that's not even getting punished, that's handling the equipment, trying to move it around and stuff like that, they didn't have soap invented back in the day. They wasn't washing their hands. They went right home.
Bro, you telling me they ain't had soap invented back in the day? So, you telling me STDs was before soap? How the fuck was they washing their ass? Bro, what the fuck is Flight talking about, gang? They had to have soap back in the day.
They went to go hunt some deer or something like that and eat bare hand. Oh my goodness, bro. Ew. No wonder the life expectancy, I think back then they said was like, what, 25 years old, I think, or 20?
Infections. At any rate,
bro,
they remain scarred physically and psychologically for the rest of their lives. That's why the Judas Cradle received 79 points on the pain scale, crossing the midpoint. However, the first device to go beyond 100 in our list is the oubliette. It's a horizontal tunnel with the only way out in the form of a grated opening above, used as a dungeon. Often, it was so narrow that the prisoners couldn't even sit down. Moreover, oubliettes were built right there in the castle so that the victims could hear human voices and smell the food, causing them even more psychological suffering. Yet, the real torture was the fact that the prisoners were literally forgotten about in these holes.
Really?
And they slowly died of thirst, hunger, exhaustion, and infections.
Wow.
Compared to this, a Judas Cradle execution was a swift way to relieve one's suffering. The oubliette is a kind of immurement, which has been practiced.
So, if you heard that, the only way for them to get out of that is to go to the Judas Cradle?
Since ancient times, on all
The
continents.
Judas Cradle.
In the Roman Empire, the most influential Vestals who had broken their virginity pledge were sentenced to death. It was against the law to shed their blood, though. So they were immured alive, fated for a slow, desperate death. If you think this insane practice remained in days past, you're wrong. In Mongolia, this barbaric execution method was still in use until at least 1913. So immurement in its different variations receives 108 points on the pain scale. But what if you're not alone in this closed space? Then it's an entirely different kind of punishment. Rat torture. As far
I feel
back
like I've
as in
heard
the
of that
1st
before.
century AD, the cruelest emperor in the history of the Roman Empire, Nero, used rats to torture those who fell out of favor. They say he put the victim into a barrel
Say bless you.
with hungry rats who quickly ate the person alive.
Alex,
Nigga,
In the
what?
end, They made
Nigga, rats could eat a human alive? Bro, what? Say on Jesus Christ, rats could eat. Bro, what? Bro,
criminals
that just fooled the fuck out of just what the fuck?
wear wide pants, which were first tied around the ankles and then filled with rodents. Any ideas as to which body parts suffered the most and how painful it was? However, medieval torturers took it even further. They tied the victims down to immobilize them, then placed a bottomless cage on their abdomens and filled it with rats. Then they put hot wood coal on the grates, and the rats became unbearably hot. First, they tried gnawing at the cage in desperate attempts to escape. Later, though, the rats realized they were standing on a soft human body and started eating their way out through it. Sometimes the cage was put on the victim's head, near the mouth,
Nigga,
or other
my.
body
Oh, fuck no. Hey, I ain't gonna lie, bring this back, but nigga, keep it the fuck away from me. Bring it back though.
parts. I'll let your imagination fill in the detail.
bro, that's just cruel. Now, if you do some weirdo crime, I don't have no sympathy for you. But, bro, like, imagine, like, you stealing, like, a motherfucking couple of apples, bro, and they do this to you, bro. This is
Bro,
crazy.
don't
That's
steal
The most
crazy.
at
horrible
all.
thing is
Man,
probably
fuck
the
that.
fact that in South American countries, rat torture was in use until the 1980s. It received 112
That's
points
recent.
on the pain scale.
Damn.
It would seem that there's nothing worse than this. But before we get to the most horrifying tortures
Bro, I'm
that
not gonna lie,
scored
that's bad. Like, that is bad, nigga. Hey, bro, make sure, bro. Oh my, like,
the maximum of
Ooh.
140 points, there are still two more devices. The first of which is the rack. This is another deadly invention of the Middle Ages. It looked like a wooden frame with rollers on both ends. The person's limbs were tied to them, and when the torturers would start turning the rollers, the victim's arms and legs would stretch in different directions. This caused unbearable pain due to joint displacement, muscle and ligament ruptures, and, in the most horrific cases, even bone fractures. The executioners could torture the victim like this for hours or even days to beat the confession or the necessary information out of them. Sometimes, a specifically trained person would supervise the victim's condition to keep them conscious and alive before a specific time. So, it's unsurprising that just threatening someone to send them to the rack would often be enough to obtain
Now,
the
I also
necessary...
think about it, too. It's crazy, like, some of these movies and stuff, too, where they have, like, these crazy, like action parts or climaxes of the movie or whatever, like, all that comes from just back in the days of this, like, weird torture and shit like that. That's
information. This horrible type of torture received 116 points on the pain scale. However, citizens of ancient Greece managed to outperform even the cruelty of medieval European torturers. being the creators of one of history's most terrifying torture devices, the Brazen Bull.
Hey,
Acco-
this what I was talking to like I think in the beginning of the video I was talking about this, or this might be on a different video. Hopefully it's this video so I don't look stupid. But this what I was talking about, like where they move the book. I don't think it's the specific one because it looked like it's on his leg, but nigga, they used to move that bitch around to make sure like
I think I heard about that one
It
before,
was
too.
built by an Athenian named Perilos as a commission for a Sicilian tyrant,
Whoa.
Phalaris, in the 16th
that
century
bitch get
BC.
hot.
It was a hollow copper statue of a bull with a hatch on its side. A person would be pushed inside, the hatch would be shut, and then the torturers would start a fire under the bull's belly. Furthermore, the statue's nostril structure made the victim's scream sound like the bull's bellow. Yet this barbarism was apparently not enough. So after the execution, the victim's bones were used to make jewelry to then be sold on markets. The inventor of this hellish machine realized very quickly that doing business with tyrants was a bad idea, since the first person Phalaris tried out the brazen bull on was Perilos himself. First, the man's skin started burning in the places where it touched the metal. Then, the hot air gradually burned his airways and lungs. He went on to slowly cook alive before choking to death or going unconscious.
That's crazy.
Before this,
Wait, so they said the nigga that made the bull was the first one to test it out, bro. Bro, you is a one dumb motherfucker. If you think I'ma make something like that and get in it after I know what the fuck it could do, like that nigga is fucking stupid in the fucking head. Man.
Perilos
What's
went
up?
through the agony that reached 130
Hey, nah, but I definitely think they should bring that back. I definitely do.
points on the pain scale. Even this horror, though, won't compare to the fate of those sentenced to lynching. It's definitely one of the most barbaric punishments in humanity's entire history.
Really?
And it hails from Asia. It was used in China, Vietnam, and Korea right until the early 20th century.
Damn.
To punish perpetrators of the most heinous crimes like mass murder and high treason, as well as to eradicate the emperor's personal enemies. It comes as no surprise, since the victim would be tied to a pole in a crowded
And they
space to
cut
turn the
body parts
execution
off?
into public humiliation. Then, a few torturers would slowly cut pieces of flesh out of the convict's arms, legs, and chest. We know from historical records that during Ling Chi, the victim would suffer from 100 to 3,000 wounds. That's why this torture is also dubbed death by 1,000 cuts.
Wow.
Although the experts state that with such wounds, a person would most likely die within 20 minutes. Sometimes the families of the victims would bribe the executioners to inflict a deadly wound right away. This wouldn't remove the victim's physical pain, but it's worth
Oh
remembering
my
that for the
God.
Chinese, Ling Chi was also a spiritual punishment. According to their beliefs, this disfigurement of the body wouldn't allow the victim to be whole and healthy in the afterlife. This horrific execution method officially remained in use in China until 1905. This type of torture received the most points on the pain scale, 140.
Hey,
I told you all this exclusively for educational purposes and to
I'm not gonna lie, bro. What do y'all think the worst one on that list was? Me personally, I think the last one was the worst one by far. But it was still some good ones in there, some really disgusting ones in there. Yeah, some like the beginning ones. The first one was alright, it was cool. But when they started going 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, probably 7, probably 8, nigga, y'all lost me. Y'all lost me. Cause what? Nigga, bro, I'm still on this game. If a nigga put piss in my, bro, nigga, you gonna have to see me on God. On God. We gonna die. We gonna die. We gonna die together. In GTA. Now, if y'all fuck with this, folks, make sure y'all nigga like and subscribe. This might be actually the first video that I drop. Cause I honestly, I fuck with this video. This reaction. This shit low key tough. Let me see. So I might, in stream, respark, and then I'm gonna react to this one.